Welcome to the War Eagle Radio Network for Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service, coming to you live from Christie's Camo Cafe and Grill in downtown Atwood. Talons Out Live takes you in-depth and behind the scenes with West Carroll War Eagles head coach Clayton Morris, with stats, comments, and a breakdown of the previous game, plus a look ahead in the schedule. We will sit down weekly with special guests and even a senior spotlight player. Now let's get this show on the road. From Christie's Camo Cafe and Grill, this is Talons Out Live. Welcome one and all to the War Eagle Radio Network, Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service at Christie's Camo Cafe and Grill in downtown Atwood. Rogers Hydrant Service, always, they got hydroflow testing, flushing and repairs, valve operation, hydrant painting, GPS mapping, backflow device testing and repair. Call Joey Cherry at 662-3700 or visit them online at rogershydrantservice.com. They know H2O after 125 years of combined experience in the water and treatment distribution. I'm Jonathan Gowan. Alongside my co-host for this week is Mr. Jared Mims. And then sitting in for Coach Morris, we've got Coach Colton Taylor joining us here tonight. So I guess first off, Jared, how are you tonight, sir?
Man, all good. Excited to be back. Appreciate the invite. Of course, you know I'm here anytime you need me. But excited to talk West Carroll football.
Yeah, it's time to get it rocking and rolling. And like I said, sitting in for Coach Morris, Coach Taylor, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Feeling awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. So it kind of goes without saying right now, you know, it's been a tough week. It's been kind of a somber week and stuff. As most of you know, that Coach Morris's mother passed away on Sunday morning and unexpectedly. And so we want to be sure that we keep that family, our thoughts and our prayers. Prayers are magical. They do a lot of things. So be sure that you keep Coach Morris, his wife, and also our softball coach, John Michael Morris. Keep all of that whole family in your thoughts and prayers. And I hesitated on sharing this next thing, but I asked somebody earlier on the phone that actually asked me to go make a little speech earlier at the meal for the kids. And so a couple of weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, Miss Morris actually reached out to me and on Facebook, and she was like, you know, thank you for having the Talons Out Live. Thank you for having the games and stuff broadcast, because that way they can still feel that connection and be as close as they can be, because I mean they was living all the way in Georgia. Mm-hmm. They can be as close as they can be to Coach Morris and the War Eagle team and stuff. And so she was talking about they wanted to make a visit possibly in October to see if they could, kind of surprise Coach Morris, and both her and her husband as well is going to come up here. So I kind of concocted a plan that on October 12th, when we have the Talons Out Live and the Newlywed game upstairs, we were going to surprise Coach Morris with them showing up at the last minute right before we started that game. So when I was told about the news the other day, man, I was like, man, that just kind of hit hard really quickly and stuff, you know. So on October 12th, when we do have that Newlywed game, there will be a vacant seat in honor and memory of Miss Morris. So, like I said, I debated on whether talking about that or not, but, you know, it was awesome that we could even begin to make those plans to maybe surprise. And I was going to try to have Coach John Michael here as well and his wife to play with us and stuff. They can still come join in, you know, no big deal. And so, like I said, been a tough week, been kind of somber. Keep them all in your thoughts and prayers. So I mean, that's the best thing you can do. But yeah, there'll be a vacant chair that night for Miss Morris and kind of honor and memory of her. But yeah, I know it's been a tough week for y'all, especially, you know, Coach Taylor kind of stepping into that lead role of everything. So, you know, before we kind of look back at the McKenzie game, not much to look back at that on that. It's kind of going to be a tough deal with that. But, you know, kind of talk about that. All of a sudden, you know, you're like, I'm the lead man.
That's it. Well, what I did realize this week is what Coach Morris does behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of things go into running a football program that really most people don't see at all. And I got a small gist of that this week. Nothing compared to what he's done. The load that he carries, it's a big responsibility, and I commend him for it. We try to keep everything as normal as possible for the kids this week, but with the loss of his mom, it's been tough. So all of the coaches on our staff, we've all done a small role to fill the shoes of Coach Clayton Morris, and it's been tough on us. I can just imagine what he goes through each week, but we're going to be there for him. He sent us a message and told us to take care of business, go get Lake County.
Right.
That's what we're going to do.
And I'm sure you probably feel the sense of, that's some tough shoes to fill, because just as I said just a few minutes ago, talking to the players in that little speech I gave, the game of football absolutely just pours out of that man. I have never seen anything like that. And, we've had coaches in the past that, I'm not going to talk bad about anybody, but I feel like Coach Morris and the team that he has put together with you and yourself and Dixon and everybody is some of the best coaching staff we have ever had at West Carroll. And I mean, talk about that a little bit, how that the game of football, you can just feel it and see it just oozing out of that man every given moment of the day, I'm sure.
Every single moment. He's poured his heart and soul into this West Carroll program, and then 100% shows. When I first got hired on, he talked about wanting to change the culture around West Carroll, and I feel like it's changing because of Clayton Morris. Like you said, with every ounce of his being is football. That family lives, breathes, sleeps football, and you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look ahead to the game this week, but you being the assistant head coach and now being the head coach, right? It's added pressure leading up to the game, but also during the game. I mean, people don't know the decisions you have to make in the moment, and you're the guy making those calls Friday night.
I am. I've talked to my girlfriend Brittany every day. Said, honey, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Last night she was watching Grey's Anatomy, and I'm on YouTube trying to look up motivational speeches and how to give them, because you never know when you get thrown into that role. And I was not prepared, but
I got thrown into that role just like 30 minutes ago. I'm like planning all day long.
Yeah,
I feel you.
I just want to fill in and do the best that I can for him, because I know how much he cares about this program. And I know the trust that he put in me to be his assistant coach. I just don't want to let him down. So I'm going to do all I can for this program and this team this week and going into Friday night.
And the word that I got from him, I waited till yesterday to text him, because I was like, he posted the thing about his mom and stuff on Sunday, but I just wanted to wait and kind of hold back. And I even offered to cancel this Talons Out Live. But that was one of the things that came from Coach Morris, is he wants to keep everything as normal as possible for the coaches, for the kids, for the community. And he seems like he's so big in, what everybody sees, and as far as the community and the players and everything. So it's amazing what he has kind of instilled in everybody to try to keep that normal going on.
It just speaks to the type of man that he is.
Yeah.
He's going through an absolute tragedy right now. And he wants to make sure that everybody gets the normalcy, and he's looking out for everybody else in his time of sorrow and mourning. And that just shows, again, the type of man that he is. He cares about this community and this school so much that, yes, something bad happened to me and my family, but let's not look at me. Let's just keep things rolling.
Right.
He's a great dude. Can't beat him.
And with that being said, normal. Let's talk about last week's game. I mean, 51-0. I don't want to repeat that very much. And I didn't even print out the stats. I've been so crazy all day long, but do we need them? Because it was a tough game. And as I said earlier, over there, I think they never gave up. They got in there, they fought, they never gave up. So I think we said like one first down, And I mean, it's so Jared. Let's talk about that
I
game
mean,
just a
look,
little bit.
we talked last week. We knew who they were, right? But I guess, Coach, start with just your overall impressions of that night and your thoughts you took away from that game.
It was a long night. We knew they had the athletes. We knew they were coached well. We know what McKenzie is. We just tried to do what we thought was a good plan to execute and or shorten the game up for us. As many, I should say, possessions as we can, or time of possession that we could control the ball. It's less that they could have it. They're just hats off to Coach Comer and that group because he's got a good group over there.
Tough night, but you had some guys step up. I
We
mean,
did.
you talk about injuries. We had a key injury in the backfield. The guy we're going to talk to later, Hunter Walters, kind of filled that void at fullback for you guys. And I thought really didn't shy away from that challenge.
Hunter, pound for pound, toughest kid on the team,
Without a doubt.
100%. Just talking.
Like every team he's been on since I've been at West Curl, even back in his junior high days, he's been the dude, man. That
He's not going to shy away from any
yeah.
contact. He's not going to shy away from anybody. You bring their biggest, baddest, we're going to throw Walters at him.
Exactly. Yeah. So, obviously that game, the way it went, I guess, what are your takeaways on how we grow from that night?
I will say, as bad as the score looked, we didn't play terrible. On defense, Coach Dolan, he done some things to get some pressure on the quarterback, and quite often you see we're half a step slow. We're there. We just got to fix those little things. Offensively, always we're 1 or 2 blocks away. We tighten those things up and tighten timing up on our stunts on defense. If we tighten those things up, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I hear a lot about Coach Dolan, who's new to the staff this year, and how he puts his game plan right is always to where these kids they believe they see how they can outperform them, and they felt that way with McKenzie, and and schematically, right, he's putting us in the right positions.
Absolutely. He's been around coaching. I don't know. I mean, it's been quite a few years, and the fire and passion that he comes to practice with every day got me fired up to play. And I hadn't played since 2009. I wanted to strap up and go play, but yeah, he does get those kids to believe and buy into what he wants defensively, and Coach Dolan's good for us.
Yeah, it's funny because junior high we practice on the field below you guys, and I can hear him. There he goes, man. He's getting fired up about something.
Passion
right?
and fire, like no other.
But and you can see we brought that swagger right defensively. But yeah, I mean those nights can be tough. But it felt like, and kind of Jonathan alluded to this too, that since then this team is right back on track and preparing for this week, because this is, and we'll talk more about it. But this game, like every game, but this one matters. This is important to us.
It does. We always talk about in practice, play the next play. The game's over. So what? We got a big region game coming up. We got to prepare for it. We got to get our mind mentally prepared and on track to beat Lake County. We can't dwell on the McKenzie loss. It's tough loss, yes, but again, we got to move on.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we were talking to Keys,
Well, just like you were saying, we got to move on, and we got to, as Coach Morris always says, trust the process and get in there and take care of business. But as far as I don't know if there's any really turning points, but the Ash Photography Snapshot of the Week. Ash Photography, check them out. They got family portraits, senior pictures, maternity, newborn, even wedding photos. You can call Ashton Worrell at 358-5956 or visit Ash Photography on Facebook or Instagram for more info and a link to the website. So, McKenzie was kind of on top of us for the most part the entire way. But is there anything that you kind of feel is like a turning point for that game in general, or the West Carroll side, whatever you want to talk about as far as that?
I'm the special teams coordinator, so I can say this and not make any other coaches mad. We did not play well specialty-wise at all Friday night, and I take 100% accountability for that. 2 punts, we give them the ball inside of their own 20. It's tough to stop a team as powerful and as fast, as good as McKenzie. When you give them 70 yards less to play with, they're starting on their own 30 from a couple punts. And I take full responsibility for that. We'll get better on it. We worked on it this week in practice, and special teams will be better this week.
Yeah, and I would say also if you're looking for a good snapshot moment, right? I feel like once the game ended, I think our guys were like, hey, we're good, man. I mean that's done. Nobody was, like upset. I mean, when you look back to the Halls game, that was tough. But this one, I think our players felt, hey, we got through this one. Right now,
Yep.
it's time to move on. So that was a good moment to me. I thought for the team in general.
It was again this week mindset was completely different than last week. Of course, again this is a big region game. We want to win region games. I think mentally we're more prepared, more up front than we were last week, and it showed. Like you said, they didn't hang their heads too much. Came back Sunday and we got back to work.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I love this week. I love us this week for a couple of reasons. I mean, we're a good bounce back, right? We have, I think Hunter Walters kind of epitomizes that chip on our shoulder, right? Like we don't get the credit we deserve. You know what I mean? And then secondly, I love us on the road, man. I love us. You know what I mean? On the road, right? I feel like it's just different. It's just us. It's kind of that us against the world thing when you're on the road.
I got the complete opposite. I hate road trips.
Do you really?
I hate road trips. Since I've been here, a long road trip, nothing has been great each time. There's always
we've had some issues in the past
that
You're
goes
right.
wrong, and I absolutely hate road trips. But this, like you said, it feels a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're ready to drive to Lake County. It's the longest road trip of the year. I feel like we're ready to drive to Lake County and take the flight for 48 minutes.
Now that you say this, I forgot about the broken down bus.
The broken down bus is
pick him up on the side of the road, man.
Last year at Halls, we forgot our
forgot the footballs. Yeah, okay. But that's all in the rearview mirror now.
That's
we got the system in place.
We got to move forward.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this. Just to be away from home and go get them. Right.
That's it.
So yeah, it's going to be good. Halls. I mean, at Lake County. It's funny because it always seems like it was always cold and wet when we went there in the regular season, but neither one of those things this week, right? So good weather, good field. We should be in good shape.
I don't know. It's still a little chilly because I think the Hurricane Ian is kind of blowing junk all the way up here, and it's been
as long as it
chilly
doesn't rain.
Oh yeah,
we're fine.
I think most of that.
But to their credit, I was there I don't know a month ago or so, and so they put some new sod down. Right, the field's in better shape overall. So
Hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right, so let's talk about our Zombie Trail Paintball Scary Moments in Time last week. They're located at 1353 Mason Grove Road in Humboldt. For more info and to buy tickets, visit zombietrailpaintball.com. And also the Camp Blood Cabins, visit campbloodtn.com for more information. And that starts this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go check that out. So other than the entire game in general, well, what was kind of the scary moments in time from that game on Thursday?
Our very first punt.
Very first punt.
Our very first punt.
Talk about that just a little
bit. So many things have to go right just for us to get the snap. And then we got to punt it. Coach Mim said, then we got to punt it and go cover. So our first punt, it's not a good snap, not a good kick. Again, we give them the ball back in, I don't know, maybe they're 30 going in. From there, I've been a special teams coach. It's terrible, and I hung my head a little bit. But to me, that play scared me because if we don't play well on specials, then it's going to be a long game in general.
Do you feel like that's one of the things that just kind of led the downhill deal from there? It just kind of, I guess, maybe shocked everybody or something. But I mean, they still seem like they just didn't let down. I mean, still.
No, they didn't. They fought, but again, special teams coach.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever talk bad about another coordinator, and I never will. I take full responsibility on those parts of the game, and we just didn't perform well there.
Yeah, and it's so critical, and I know Coach Morris speaks about this, and of course Coach Taylor too. You have to have a level of trust when it comes to specials, right? And so when you have that first kind of mix-up, then you're like, oh man, we got to punt again. Are we going to be good? What can we do right now to fix this? And so it's all for me. Special teams is all about trust. Like you have to know that's going to be solid, right? Because you throughout a given week at practice, the majority of time obviously spent on offense and defense, right? Specials do get their focus, but there's a lot of trust that goes into that. And you're right. I mean, when you have something go wrong, then there's that doubt that creeps in your mind. You're like, man, we got to punt, because you are of course coaching defense and watching the secondary, especially, but you're also knowing. I mean, I'm sorry, on offense, you're also thinking, okay, we're second and +10, or we're third, and so you're in your mind, you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
we got to be good. So you're like, punt team, let's go, let's talk. You know what I mean? So yeah, I know your pain, right? But if you look up until last week, and we've talked about this in previous weeks, special teams has been pretty darn solid. Punt team has been pretty solid every week. Snaps are good. Punts get away. We cover well. I don't think we've given up a big return this year, and I'm thinking back on it. So, that was just a tough week for it. But altogether, it's been pretty strong, and that's a credit to you, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Again, I take full responsibility for that.
Yeah.
That's part of it. So
yeah, he's one of these guys, man. You can tell, just beats himself up, and I'm with it.
I did the same thing.
I'm with
the same thing. All right, we're going to step away. We're going to take about a 1-minute break, and we'll come back, and then we're going to talk to our senior spotlight player. We'll finish kind of breaking down just a little bit of the McKenzie game, and then be ready to look ahead to next week. So we'll take a 1-minute message and be back in a moment on the Talons Out Live on the War Eagle Radio Network. Are you looking for shirts, apparel, and other supplies to support your favorite War Eagle? Digital Graphics in Atwood has you covered with expert screen printing and embroidery on uniforms, caps, signs, and more. Brent Stafford is ready to help you display your War Eagle pride to cheer on your team throughout the entire season. Call Digital Graphics at 731-225-4275. Plus, check them out on Facebook. Rogers Hydrant Service Incorporated is a family-owned and operated company located in the heart of West Tennessee. Their business stands on hard work and hands-on customer service. Whether you need hydrant flow testing, flushing and repairs, valve operation, hydrant painting, GPS mapping, backflow device testing and repair, or water main repairs, they're the complete hydrant company to serve all of your hydrant needs. Call Tim Rogers or Joey Cherry at 731-662-3700. Rogers Hydrant Service Incorporated. They know H2O.
Let me see you just wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah.
Welcome back live on the War Eagle Radio Network. Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service. We got Logan over there in front of the camera. Slide over, Logan.
I don't think he knows. There you go.
He's like, I didn't know the camera's
got
there.
A good profile shot.
Hey, you got a good profile shot. Logan Mitchell there. He's everybody. He's one of our faithful linemen for Carroll County Electric. So thanks to them for keeping us in power and stuff. Keeping us going. Because if you don't have them, then you got to call Cayman Electric and talk to them for that backup generator stuff.
Nice.
So, we're gonna let Coach Taylor chow down on his burger over there. Who would you think is going to be like the player of the week for us last week?
Going into it, or what do you mean, like afterwards?
All the
above.
It's
hard to predict. But I think several guys played hard last week, given the challenge. That at some point, I know for those guys felt a bit insurmountable, right? So it's like when you get to that third quarter, who's still out there doing their job and doing their thing, right? So, Coach Taylor and I talked before, and I think we both agree that a guy that did well is the guy sitting right here. And you can speak to that real quick, Coach Taylor.
Yeah, we had an injury going into the McKenzie week in the backfield, a key injury. And we needed some guys to step up and fill that role. And Hunter Walter has absolutely done that. He stuck his nose in there, no hesitation. That's the type of guy he is. You ask him to do something, he's going to do it 100% to the best of his ability every single time, no questions asked. The only thing, it's kind of funny, he said, I don't mind doing it, but I don't want to get out there and not know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So he's behind us when we're running offense. He's behind us asking questions. Like, he wants to know so he can get in and know what to do, and we can trust him with that. And I can 100% say that when you need something done, he will be the guy to do it if you need it to get done.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And Hunter, talk about that just a little bit, kind of jumping into that role all of a sudden last week and kind of having to learn on the fly, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, it was definitely a big step. I'm more of a defensive player, but, the coaches told me that was like, I'm going to need you to step up this week and play a little bit of offense. And, I was like, all right, I got you, coach. And like he said, I had no hesitation in going in there and, doing my part and stuff. But I just wanted to make sure that I kind of knew what I was doing. And but it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. It went through a little more smoothly. It was pretty good.
And that's good that, everybody has been able to just – because we've talked about that on multiple occasions here on this show, and they've had to, whether it was injuries or, other situations that was coming about, they've had to jump in there and take all
Listen,
these
man,
different
and
roles.
Coach Taylor will tell you it's 1A football. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. You don't have the luxury of 60 guys, and you got of those 60, 30 can hop out there and compete, right? Um, that's just a product of where we are. But luckily, we have a lot of guys. Like even last week at practice, we kind of had this fullback by committee approach during practice, and so you had several guys, even like Wyckoff, you putting guys back there that could maybe fill that void if need be. So that's what we have. Our guys that are always want to step up.
I think at one point we had 3 fullbacks ready to step up and rotate, and we're game ready.
Wow. All right, so our senior spotlight player, Hunter Walters. I have no clue what's going on with my secondary phone, my phone. It just will not connect to this broadcast. Thank goodness everything else is going just good.
He can be on my camera. You want to
He
do
can be
that?
on your
So you
camera?
can see his face. I need some
See if you can turn that around there.
There you go. It still says Jared Mims, but we know.
Well,
Hunter
we can change that
There it
to Hunter Walters. But I guess one of the things that I always talk to everybody about first is who is Hunter Walters. Kind of where'd you come from, growing up and different things. I'll mute yours for again, so you can.
I'm good.
You're good. That's to say you can finish.
Go
your
on,
food
eat,
over there.
coach.
Go on, eat, coach. But who is Hunter Walters? Talk about yourself a little bit. Like where you come from, your parents, your family, where you grew up and stuff. So give us a little insight.
Yeah. I grew up mainly around Lavinia, Cedar Grove area.
Okay.
I was never grew up really with a father figure. My uncle was always my father figure.
Right.
I was always real close to my mom. I still am.
Right.
Moved around a lot. When I was younger. Went through some hard times. But to me, when it comes down to it, family. It's all about family, and that really taught me, to step up in life. Because I've been in those positions to step up in life, and that kind of I feel like that made me grow up a little bit, just kind of the way I was raised. Uh,
How do you feel like that? Knowing that you've had to make that step up and things like that, how do you feel like that has turned into, this senior leadership role within the football and the game and the entire team and stuff?
Yeah, I never really, I didn't think it'd get here this quick. Just the other
It
day,
flies.
I was a freshman.
Right.
And I was a freshman. I tore my ACL when I was younger, and I, kind of at that point, I was thinking, football might not be my thing. But
Right.
then as I got older, I kept playing, and now that I'm a senior, I understand. Like, I try to tell these younger kids, the freshmen and stuff, like y'all got to take this serious, because it comes pretty quick. And but being a senior and on the team, it everybody, I see how a lot of people, a lot of the younger kids kind of look up to you, and to me, the way you act and how you practice stuff like that, it reflects on them. And I feel like as all our seniors, we do a pretty good job, of just being those role models. But yeah,
And talking about that role model situation, what do you feel like is your number one thing that you personally have led to the team and led to the seniors in that role model situation? What do you feel like is your top thing that you've done?
my top thing, the way how Coach Taylor was saying, tough kid. That's how a lot of the new freshmen come up this year. They talk to me like, like, oh, don't mess with Hunter. He's that type of guy. He's that tough kid. And I reckon everybody sees me as that type of guy. I'm a friendly guy. I really am.
Right.
That's just kind of how I was raised, and I don't know. It just being a senior, I feel like everybody sees me as a good person.
Right.
But also, he's that tough kid, and that's just kind of how I feel everybody sees me and stuff.
It's so crazy to sit here across from you as a senior because
Yeah.
it feels like you said just yesterday you were
Mhm.
playing on the junior high
Yeah.
team in 8th grade. What you don't know about Walters is like, he has had to step up this summer when kids were at practice and working out. My man was working,
Yeah.
and you were working a tough job, right? I mean, you were getting
Mhm.
after it. So you're at a sawmill, is that right?
Yeah, I worked at a sawmill all
Oh, wow.
summer. Yeah.
So he had to make some money, and I admire that. I guess the question is, here you are as a senior,
Mhm.
right? What has it meant for you to be part of this team all these years?
No, it's playing football, it's not all about football. And especially with Coach Morris and all the coaching staff that we have now, it taught me more than football. Taught me more about coming together, being a family, and just having that courage, and just loving your teammates and loving your coaches, and loving the sport that you play. But to me, it's not all about football. It's about family, and coming together and being a man. It taught me a lot as being a man too. And Coach Morris, I really respect him for that. I see him as a good football coach, but also outside of football, I see him as a great person. And I've grown close to him, and all the stuff that's going on and stuff. I've prayed for him and stuff, and I'll keep him in my prayers. But he's taught me that football is not, it's not just about football. It's about family, and coming together, and making it worth something.
So when you're gone, and I
Mhm.
think you kind of answered this already, but when you're gone and next year when kids talk about Hunter Walters,
Yeah.
what are they going to say?
Hopefully they say that he was a good player.
Yeah.
He's a good player. Hopefully I leave a good impact on a lot of the younger kids, and stuff like that. But yeah, when I'm gone, hopefully I was that tough kid in high school. That good player, little guy, but had a strong punch. That's kind of how I feel like that's how they're gonna see me.
Right.
Wow.
And one of the things that I always kind of ask Coach Morris, I'm going to kind of put you on the spotlight, Taylor. Kind of give a rebuttal to that, a return. I ask him about what has been his top dog role and stuff in this. What do you feel like he has led to this team and had that senior leadership role? What do you feel like is his top assets?
I'll agree with him. It's his toughness. If you see him on Fridays, he's got wrists taped up, thumbs taped up, fingers, knees. He looks like somebody that you grabbed some scrap parts and wrapped up and threw on the field. But he is by far the toughest kid I've ever coached.
And then on top of that, I think he's got like attacked by a weed eater today or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Cut my hand up a little bit.
Oh man, so
And
go ahead.
not just physically tough. This kid is 100% mentally tough. I'm all for it. There's some things that's happened. Me and him talked about the tough kid, and I love him to death. Hope he knows that.
No, I appreciate that.
That's awesome. So what is some of your plans and anticipations and stuff after high school? College, whether it's the workforce. What's kind of coming up for you?
Well, my uncle, he's a foreman at a fencing company in Jackson, West End Fence. I've worked there over the summers and stuff, and out of high school, I'll probably work there for about 2 or 3 years, save my money up, and there's a farrier school in Oklahoma I plan on going to, being a farrier, shoeing horses, stuff like that. Go up there for a few months, and that way I'll be my own boss and do something that I love.
Hey, that sound like
My
a
man.
Sound like
I like
fun.
that.
Can I chip in and add something?
Yes, go ahead.
I think it was last year or maybe this summer. This is a rodeo kid. He can make a lasso out of anything. I walked in the field house one day. He's got an extension cord. Turn it into a lasso, and he's snatching stuff off the table like left and right. Man. All of us coaches talk about that all the time.
That's awesome.
I love this kid, man.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Hey, you got to use what tools you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
supplied, man.
Well, it's good to know. If I have a loose hog or something, or a
Call
loose
Hunter, he'll
horse,
get him.
I'm calling
Find another
Hunter Walters.
extension cord.
Yeah,
call
I
Hunter
know, man.
Walters. That is
Super.
awesome. That's awesome. So, well, thank you, Hunter, for joining us. And I'm telling you, Mims, it's been crazy to field this year. Last year when we had these senior spotlight players and stuff, it seems like they were just those one word answers and they was just not really
Oh, yeah.
kind of take off. But man, this year it's been a different story with Seth Edwards. We had Hunter Reynolds, now Hunter Walters, and there's just a couple more. I can't remember all of them, but man, they have just got right in there and said some stuff that you're like, oh, okay, all right,
Mhm.
just,
Yeah. Impressive. Yep.
You
wise
get the
kid,
same thing on the field with those guys too, man.
and that's a good
Every
thing.
single one of them.
That's a good thing. Thanks to Vicky here too, our waitress. She is keeping us in our sweet tea, which is you didn't get the sweet tea, did you?
I got Dr. Pepper.
Nah, you missing out, homie. Man, this is like some of the best sweet tea. Christy and her staff, and as always, thank you to Christy and her staff for letting us to come in here to bombard her area and stuff. When I walked in earlier, I had to be in a hurry. And I walked in behind some folks that I went to school with, and I was like, they sit down right here. I was like, "Yeah, I need your table. This is where we do our
Yeah,
coaches
sorry.
show. Can you move to the next table?" So we kind of upset the apple cart and stuff each and every Wednesday, but we appreciate it. But thanks, Hunter, for joining us.
Yeah.
Always good to talk to the seniors and kind of find out some things about them. So let's go ahead and let's just dive right into it real quick and talk about Lake County coming up. We know you got to go here in just a little bit, and we got one of your coaches. So we want to talk to them here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and talk about looking ahead at Friday night, Lake County. It's coming up, and it's always been one of those things with Lake County that has been tough. And you go in there, and it seems like sometimes you don't know what team you're going to get when you go to Lake County. It's either speed or you can get in there and take care of business and handle them. So where do they stand this year? What have we seen so far in like some videos and stuff? What are we looking at Friday night?
They're a good ball club. I mean, they've got some athletes that if you let them get out in space, they'll hurt you. I think Coach Dolan's dialed up a pretty good game plan to defend those guys. And defensively, they're going to blitz you and lock you up one-on-one coverage on
Right.
the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think Coach Dixon, we've got some things prepared for Lake County to go attack them straight in the mouth, and I'm excited for Friday night, man.
Whether it's like the speed or some of their other assets, how do we go about making that plan of attack? And I don't know, do they still have the same speed and stuff that they had before? And the reason I ask that is because I will never forget, this has been about 4 or 5 years ago. We're sitting up there in the press box. Adam Welch, play by play, he's calling the game. He calls the play, they snap the ball, and they tricked Adam. And it's like Adam's calling the game, and I'm like poking at him. The dude is like 15 yards gone, and I'm like, the play's over there,
Yeah.
and oh man, well, at the 25, the 20, I'm like, dude, it was nuts. So I mean, I'm assuming they've still got that same speed that they've always had.
They've still got those athletes. And what I've told our kids this week, with our game plan and everything that we've drawn up and schemed up for this, if you do your job, we'll be fine. Don't try to be a hero. Just do your job, and everything else will take care of itself. And I honestly believe if all of our kids, coaching staff, whether you're on the field, on the sideline, in the press box, if we all do our job, we will be successful.
Yeah. And each one of them has got to do their individual duties, I guess, Jared, to make that whole team effort show on the field.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and look, we all know what this game means, right? So I'm sure Coach would tell you that the goal from the staff is for us to play relaxed, right, and just execute. And so in moments like this, sometimes you try too hard, you coach too hard, you try to do things that are kind of out of character.
Yeah,
I mean, looking by this point in the season, we know who we are, right, and so we know what we can do, and I'm sure Coach Taylor would tell you that that's the goal here. So let's go out, be calm, be relaxed, right, and just execute. And like you said, if we do our jobs, the sum of that will be good for us.
yeah. If we like you said, be who we are, do what we do, we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So each and every week we kind of ask Coach Morris to give us those top 2 or 3 powers to succeed. Cayman Electric powers to succeed. Of course, Generac home standby generators, because life is always better with power. You get free estimates and references. Call them at 571-0767. Kurt McCartney always does a good job. He's got the Cayman Electric and the Zombie Trail paintball, so you need to go check both of those out. And so what's kind of the top 3 powers to succeed going into this game on Friday night against Lake County, at Lake County?
Obviously, it's number one. I say it's going to be the turnover battle. We want to hold on to the ball, and on defense, we want to try to strip the ball away, give us extra possessions. Number 2, I would say control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Yes, they have athletes that can get out in space, but if we control the line of scrimmage, if we can run the ball, the way we know how to run the ball, we will be successful. And obviously, number 3 is take care of business on special teams. If we can do those 3, I think we'll be successful Friday night.
Hey, sound like a plan. Let's go in there and take care of business like we know we're supposed to do. So, Coach Mims, tomorrow night,
Yeah.
last junior high game.
Yep, 8th grade
And
night. Yeah.
we've got one of your coaches. Is the other one coming? Is he on his
No,
way?
he couldn't make it tonight.
Okay,
He's,
so you
know,
got big shoes to fill then. So, all right, bring your microphone up real close there to you.
Yeah, he's no media expert like Coach Taylor is here. So he's a little closer.
You got to almost kiss it, Coach Steve.
Yeah, you just about got to like stretch it out there and pull it in there. But do the best you can. We'll turn you up.
Yeah.
So, Coach Mims, introduce
Man,
your
listen,
coach here.
this is a good guy here, man. He teaches, of course, at West Carroll. He and I have been coaching together. This is our 3rd season. I think we've been doing this together.
That's right.
And I can't say enough good things about him, man. He's an all around great guy. He brings a very calm, measured approach. When I'm losing my stuff, he's kind of the between me and Rick, right? Rick is also very emotional, especially on the sidelines. But Bo's he's a good guy to have on his staff, and of course he's also a good coach. I mean, I would tell you there's several times in games when he would see something that I don't see, and we make adjustments, and it works. So just glad he stopped by tonight, and so please join me in welcoming Coach Bo Stevens to the table here. So
how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about y'all?
I'm doing well. So I kind of do the same thing that I do for everybody else, even Hunter. Who is Bo Stevens?
This could be scary.
I'm a mystery now. Okay.
You're a mystery man.
Oh yeah.
No. So who is Bo Stevens? Like, where'd you come from? What's kind of some of your resume for the past and such?
I grew up in McNairy County, Tennessee.
Okay.
Had a different walk of life to get where I'm at now. I started off going to college, made some bad decisions like a lot of freshmen in college do.
Right.
I ended up working for a couple of years at a factory, then went back to school, got my teaching degree, then started at West Carroll. This is my first school that I taught at. I originally started here the COVID year.
All right. Yeah.
Came in January that year, so I got a whopping like 2.5 months experience my first year.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. And then got moved down to the junior high, got introduced to Jared and started helping with the junior high team. Really enjoyed that. That's been a big blessing for me. Like I said, I'm from McNairy County. I don't really have any family out here, so that's kind of something to do.
Right.
Family for me out here.
Yep.
Right. So, what is kind of some of his roles and stuff that he really helps you out with in that?
His main duty on the team is coaching the linemen. That's kind of his thing, and he's done a great job with that. I mean, we've got right now 2 6th graders that start on the offensive line, and so when you do that, that's a challenge, right? Because of course, they're 6th graders, and when they're on the field, and you've seen some of these boys we play, man. I mean, good God, Brewston's line up front look like grown men out there. So it takes a lot of, aside from just X's and O's of it, right? You really have to be that guy that builds these boys up and lets them know that, hey, you belong on this field, right? So you serve as the coach, you serve as a therapist, you serve as a motivational speaker, and that's not unique to junior high either, right? I mean, that's something that happens. But I would say one of Bo's best qualities would be that when there is a moment when a kid is really upset on the field, emotional, he's kind of that calming voice. You know what I mean? He's better at that than I am. So it's a good balance that we have. And it's funny how a lot of the ways that we work together are really unspoken. We don't map out who's going to do what in certain situations. It just kind of happens, right? It just kind of happens that way. So again, for me, he's a great line coach, but he's also that voice of just calmness, right, and measure, right,
voice of reason.
Yeah, and not that anybody else is out of bounds, but he's that steady guy that I know that if I don't get to a player first, he's going to deal with it, and it's going to be okay.
Going to take care of business. So I guess kind of the same question that I asked Hunter Walters. Other than what he said, what do you feel like is your number one asset that you have brought to this junior high team?
Well, I mean, we've got a unique situation in the fact that I'm the only teacher on the staff, so I am kind of that one that's there with them all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to see them for better or for worse all day, get to deal with them, and then we get out there, and it carries over. Some of them might feel a little bit more comfortable coming to me with stuff because I am around them a little bit more. Others that have been out there for longer, like some of our 8th graders, they're a whole lot more comfortable with Jared because they've been with him for whenever they were playing league ball and everything like that. And same with Rick, because he's helped out with league ball before.
Yep.
So it's just the different ones that they've been involved with that before. They're more comfortable coming to them. And then with me, if they're in the 7th grade or 8th grader that I've had, I've been able to help out a lot with getting kids to come out this year that we've struggled with in the past.
That's a big part. Recruiting,
You got that
it is a big part. But I mean, we've got So I'm trying to go back. Like 2 years ago, we had like maybe 18, 19 kids.
If
Last
that,
year we had
yeah.
like 24 kids, and this year we're over 30 kids,
35, I think, something like
35
that.
kids. I mean,
Wow.
so that's important for us, but it's really important for these guys because they need that funnel, right, to where we're sending not just more guys, but guys that are more prepared. And when you have more guys at practice, you can do more things, more team situations, where you get actual contact, with another group of guys that are going to match your physicality. So he's right, and that's something I left out, but you have to win in the hallways. You have to recruit. And we've been blessed this year. I mean, goodness, after the first couple of games, it was like guys were just falling out of the sky. Whereas
Right.
last year,
Well-
we're like, man, we
couldn't get
yeah,
enough.
we couldn't get it out 2 years ago.
Well, you kind of talk about that with you coming from the teaching role and you see them day in and day out. Do you feel like that as far as your other coach,
Rick,
he come from West Carroll?
he's a West
So
Carroll alum. Yep, he
you
was
feel
a
like
lineman.
that's aided in that situation
Well, I mean, here's
too
the
as
deal,
well?
and he's a guy that's been around these boys for a long time, and like Bo said, mostly because of youth
Probably
ball.
from
Yeah. So back in the 3rd and 4th grade days, 5th and 6th grade days, he was with those teams because he had somebody involved there. So it's always nice when it's a familiar voice and a familiar face, right? It's just an extra level of comfort that these guys have. Now I'm gonna tell you, Rick is a high strung, can be an aggressive guy in a very good way, right? I mean,
Right.
he expects a lot, and I think those kids react to him. Most staffs have that guy that's really fiery. That kind of gets those boys going in a way that I can't do anymore.
Yeah,
And Bo
you
can't
You
either,
got to
right?
have it on staff.
You got to have it,
to
right? Like
it.
they know when I'm yelling, it's usually I'm not happy, right? When Rick yells, he's like he's that rah guy that they get fired up about.
It's
So
like a
it's
happy
a good
yelling.
it's a good balance. You know what I mean? When
Right.
you have a guy that and Coach Bo will tell you, man, I'm gonna coach hard and I'm gonna be tough and I'm gonna come down on him, right? And I'm not gonna take it easy when I know
Right.
that I expect better. I know they can do better, but Rick's that guy that is also can get these guys excited.
Right.
And that means a lot to us, So he's been a good voice for us in the locker room too.
Gotcha.
What did Jace call him today? The hype man?
He's the hype
Yeah.
man.
The hype
You know,
man,
he's-
that's
it's
awesome.
like it's like if I were a rapper, he'd be my hype guy on stage. With me, you know what I mean? And
Can
Bo
you
be the
just see
DJ.
that?
And Bo be
Jared-
hey, and
Jared
Bo be
Mims is
spinning
a
the
rapper?
Bo be spinning the wax
Oh
in the
my
back. Hey man, that's our next move, man.
There
What
we
are you
go.
gonna do?
Life after
Okay.
football, huh?
That's right.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to see Jared Mims as a rapper.
No, I
Man,
don't,
that's
nobody
hilarious.
wants to see that. So.
Lil'
That's
Mims.
funny. But Lil Mims, yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's right. Yeah, LIL. And
Lil
yeah.
Mims,
Okay.
that's funny. Okay, Coach Stevens, thank you for joining us. We appreciate that, and good luck tomorrow night.
Yeah,
'cause,
man,
I
we're
mean,
excited. I feel like we match up well. Man, we talked at the end of practice today and spent some time with the 8th graders about just thanking them for their leadership and their attitude this year because that makes a difference. I mean, when you have guys that lead, and it's not just about this year, those young guys see that, and so they want to emulate that as they become the upperclassmen on the junior high team. So this season it's been a good year. We've had some tough moments, some games I wish we could get back, but
Right.
that goes every year.
That's with
We say the
everything.
same thing, but again, what matters most to us is these boys. When people ask me what our goal is, yeah, we want to win games. Of course, we want to win games. That's how we're quote unquote judged. But what really matters is when they get to Coach Taylor's level, they're more turnkey for these coaches. So they
Right.
don't have to waste time on
Right.
steps and hands and things like that, right? So that's our goal is to, of course, we want to win, but knowing that we send this 8th grade class up to them, and I feel like every year we're better at that. I feel like we push ourselves to be better in the preparation for high school ball. Junior highs, it's important. Man, Friday nights, that's what our goal is. It's nice, and I said this last week, to sit in the stands or in the press box, wherever it may be, and watch guys and just see them do their thing on the high school field.
Right.
And that is, and it's just nice to know that we had them for a very, very small amount of time, but hopefully we did something good that helped them excel on Coach Morris's team. Right, that's a good feeling. So.
All right, we're going to step away. We're going to take a quick 30-second break and come back and wrap it all in a bow and point in the right direction toward Friday night. So back in a moment, more for Talons Out Live here on the War Eagle Radio Network. If fresh, homemade, hand-patted burgers and the best Southern eating is what you're looking for, well, look no further than downtown Atwood at Christie's Camo Cafe and Grill. Just across the street from Max Camo Connection, you'll find the best sweet tea on the block, a tasty Southern breakfast, appetizers, sandwiches, chicken, and more. Call ahead for takeout at 731-662-3770 or come on in, sit a while, and enjoy some good Southern eating. For hours and more information, visit Christie's Camo Cafe and Grill on Facebook. Welcome back live on the War Eagle Radio Network. Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service. As always, here at Christie's Camo Cafe and Grill in downtown Atwood. Well, headed to Lake County.
Yeah,
Friday night. It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a fun one. I know one thing that I'm looking forward to. There's a nice Mexican restaurant right down the street.
You gotta have your priorities, man. Yeah, you gotta do that.
Well, hey, I gotta feed
Here's
animals.
the deal. Yeah, it's whenever we go to Lake County, man. These games always matter. They always matter. So this is a big one for us.
It is. Oh, just a heads up. I did hear that their Arts and Crafts Festival starts this week.
Oh, get a little early start.
It starts starting on Friday. So if you're coming to the game, you may want to try an alternate route or leave a little early because traffic will be heavy.
Or if you're into that stuff,
if you're into it,
go an hour early
Yep.
and
stop by and have
Arts
a good time, and then
and
come
get
on
you,
and watch
get you some Santa Claus signs for your yard. That'd be good. Yeah.
Santa Claus. Wow. So, Coach Taylor, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you
Thanks
for
for having
stepping
me.
in that role there. And you got to do the same thing on Friday night. Step into that head coach
Absolutely.
role and take care of business. So we'll
He's
be
ready.
right there
He's got a maroon suit he's going to wear. Man,
Absolutely
he's gonna,
not.
he's going to do a little Derek Dooley action.
we need to get him one of
Get
those
some maroon
The
pants.
maroon
Yeah.
pants. I'm telling you, man.
He's a little top hat, a little maroon.
Yes.
Yeah, get all that stuff going. Well, it's going to be a fun one, I
I
think.
believe so. Before we sign off, guys, can we just take a moment for Coach Morris,
Yeah.
Coach Clayton Morris, and John Michael, the passing of their mom. I know it's heavy on them. Me personally, I want this win for
Yeah.
that family.
Yeah.
As much as they put into this program, it'd be amazing for us to give us our all,
Right.
and to get a W for the Morris family.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, I'd say amen to that, man. I mean, it's and the thing for not to speak on Coach Morris's behalf, but man, I know that his mind will be on that game too, right, in that moment, and so I know that's tough for him to deal with, man. So I feel for him and that way too. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that we can, it would be nice, man, to walk up that field with West Carroll on top on the scoreboard,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, it'd be great in any situation, but especially now.
Very
Right,
much so.
especially now. So, yeah, well
and,
said, Coach.
and keep them in your thoughts and prayers, the whole entire family, because they need that more than anything right at this particular moment. If you can't make the trip to Lake County, always Hometown Grocery Deli pregame show starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7 o'clock. War Eagle Radio Network, WarEagleRadio.com, the MixLR smartphone app. You can call the phone number at 605-475-5867. And also watch it. Hopefully all my internet stuff goes good at Lake County. You can watch it at youtube.com/War Eagle Radio Network, just like you do this Talons Out Live each and every week. So good luck, Coach Taylor, and
Thanks,
your
sir.
team. And like I said, let's bring that W back to Carroll County. The Battle of the Birds is going to be on Friday night. Falcons, War Eagles. Let's go in there and take care of business.
Yeah, man. I mean, you get to this point in the week and we're ready to go. It's like can't
Big
Friday get
region
here
game,
soon
they
enough.
gotta-
Let's go.
Let's execute.
Let's
That's
get it. Let's get it. Yeah.
I know they've talked. Hunter Walters talked about how quick everything has got here. I mean, this season is.
I mean, I'll be honest. This season has been an absolute blur, right? It has been a blur. It seems like it was like 7-on-7 like 2 weeks
That's
ago,
it.
and now here we are
Right.
in week 7. It's unreal, man. So after this, we got Scotts Hill, we got Greenfield, and Peabody. And that's it. That's it. So
Got to get it done. All right. Once again, Hometown Grocery Deli pregame show at 6:30. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. Come out tomorrow night. Support the Junior High War Eagles. See if you can make that trip to Lake County and support the high school. So thanks, Jared, for
of
jumping
course,
in here.
man. Anytime.
So on behalf of Coach Taylor and Coach Mims and also Bo Stevens as well, I'm Jonathan Gowan, and we'll talk to you Friday nights on the War Eagle Radio Network. Tonight's broadcast on the War Eagle Radio Network is brought to you under exclusive radio rights granted by West Carroll High School to the Tennessee Internet Broadcasting Company, solely for the private non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, or the use of the descriptions and accounts of this event without the express written consent of the Tennessee Internet Broadcasting Company and West Carroll High School is prohibited.